my March wrap up, and I have somewhere to be in like 20 minutes, so hopefully I can film this kind of fast. So I did read 12 books this month, which I feel like may be a little low, but is a lot more than I thought I was going to end up reading because of a few things that happened, but I'm pretty happy. So let's get started. First book I read was a book I got from Overdrive, and that was My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jodie Meadows. This is the first book in the My Lady Janies series, I think. It's a series about historical or famous Janes retold. This one is about Lady Jane. This one is about Lady Jane Grey, who was briefly Queen of England for like 5 days or 8 days or something like that. So it is historical. It has some like magical, mystical elements. It was pretty good. I particularly liked the second half. The first half, I wasn't really feeling it. Oh, I gave it 4 stars. Pretty fun, and it's a little meta, which I like, and the authors, like the narrators, talk to you as the reader, and I really like when that happens. And then I read Bountiful by Serena Bowen, and I gave this 4 stars. This is the 4th book in the True North series, and it is also connected to the Brooklyn Bruiser series because it takes place it takes place in Vermont, where the True North series takes place, but it features a Brooklyn Bruiser, basically. It's about Zara also. You meet her in book 1 of the True North books. She works at a bar, and this story is about how she came to be pregnant by a stranger. That's something that's like mentioned in the earlier books, so it doesn't like come out of nowhere. I'm not a huge fan of baby stories, and this one is kind of a secret baby story, which I really don't like, but this one wasn't that bad. This one was a little more believable and I could get behind, and I definitely liked the growth and development between Zara and Dave. That's the hero. So I enjoyed it well enough. Then I finished an audiobook, which was Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, and I gave that 3 stars. I got this from Overdrive as well. It's nonfiction. It's about like the split-second kind of subconscious decisions you make or your brain makes without you realizing it. It was interesting, pretty fast-paced. I liked his voice. Like, it was okay. I guess. I don't know. I would listen to other books by him if he narrated them, I guess. And then I read Winter by Marissa Meyer, which I gave 4 stars, and this is the 4th and final Lunar Chronicles book, and so I've now finished the series, and this was on my winter TBR for obvious reasons. I thought this was a good ending to the series. Like, I really liked how things were wrapped up, but I did find that the book as a whole was a little drawn out. Like, it felt like we got to an ending and then it like pulled back, and then an ending and pulled back, and an ending and pulled, like just too many times for me. And I really liked Winter and her relationship with Scarlet. It actually made me kind of want to reread Scarlet, and I remember that not being my favorite, but this made me kind of want to go back and reread that story. And I am obsessed with Aiko. She is like my favorite character. I love her, and it really does make me want to reread the whole series just for her. And then I continued on with my Bridgerton's reread, and I read the 2nd book, The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn, which I gave 4 stars. This was always one of my favorites. I had a few issues with it this time around, but nothing horrible or anything. It is the 2nd book in the Bridgerton series. It follows Anthony Bridgerton, who is the oldest, and a woman named Kate, and this is historical fiction, or historical romance, obviously, and they are like a bickering couple, and I think this is a really good example of like a well done bickering couple. I talked about enemies to lovers this past month in my tropes series, and I had mentioned how there is a balance there for it to be healthy, and I think this is a fairly healthy one. Really nice, it's enjoyable, it's fluffy, it's Julia Quinn. And then Alphas Like Us by Krista and Becca Ritchie was coming out in March, so I decided, I had not read Lovers Like Us because I just like wanted to wait, so I decided to reread Damaged Like Us. I also actually bought the first 2 books. The third one is on pre-order right now for me in paperback. So I did reread Damaged Like Us, which is the first book in the Like Us series. You do not have to read the Addicted series or the Calloway Sisters series by Krista and Becca Ritchie to read these. They do stand on their own. However, these are about the Addicted and Calloway kids. So this is a male-male romance between Mafi, who's like a billionaire, he's one of the kids, and his bodyguard Pharaoh. And it's really like 2 alpha males kind of fighting for control and finding their way. And I do plan on having a little review of the first 3 books in this series up later this month. After I finished my reread of that, I did read Lovers Like Us, which is the second book. What I really liked about this is that the Ritchies do a really good job of showing what it's like to be famous and how that impacts your relationships with friends, loved ones, family. That's something they do in the Addicted and Calloway Sisters books as well to some extent, but this is even more intense. And I loved getting to know the famous ones, which are the kids, and the bodyguards. Like, I'm really like into the bodyguards now. And these ladies are just fantastic with writing a great ensemble cast that makes me want books for everybody. And then I did read Alphas Like Us. I did get the ebook, of course, so I didn't have to wait, because waiting is horrible. And this is the third book. It still follows Mafi and Pharaoh. After this, it's going to be another couple, which I'm dying for. And I gave Lovers Like Us 4 stars. I gave this one 5 stars. I really fell in love with Mafi and Pharaoh. I'm not a huge alpha guy fan anymore, so it's hard for me to connect with stories about characters like that. While I did like them, I wasn't like, they're my favorite. But here I really fell in love with them and was just like Team Marrow all the way. And the sequel bait in here is so strong. The next book is going to be about Jane and Thatcher, and there are other confirmed couples as well. I would die for books about like every single one of these characters. Just, oh, it'd be so amazing. And that's why I buy the physical copy and the ebook copy, because you gotta support them. And I read another, oh, what was that? Oh. So then I read another book from the library, and that was The Sea King by C.L. Wilson. I gave this 3 stars. It's a fantasy romance, which I'm honestly not sure I've ever read before. So that was different. It's the second book in the Weather Mages of Mistral series. I do think it might have helped to have read the first one, but it was fine. I pulled through. I did read this because it was mentioned on Smart Bitches, and I decided to pick it up. It was good, but it didn't completely like grip me. I was confused. Like I said, I think if I had read the first one, it may have made a little bit more sense, just like understanding the world a little bit better. And overall, I think there was some interesting things with the characters, with the magic and everything, but some things resolved just a little too easily for me. Like, there were high stakes and then just super easy resolution, and then just didn't 100% click. But I totally would read the first book. Speaking of Smart Bitches, I then read Off Base by Annabeth Albert, which was also recommended in a podcast by them. And this is the first book in the Out of Uniform series. This is also a male-male romance. And this is the first male-male romance I have read that's separate from an author I've already read who writes like hetero romance, basically. I find like I'm interested by male-male romance, but I find it a very intimidating genre just because I feel like it's extra easy to be problematic, so I don't know where to go. So reading from authors I already trust is easy. I trust Smart Bitches, so if you have any recommendations, please feel free to leave them down in the comments for me. This one is about a guy, and obviously one guy his name is Pike. He's super into math, which I really liked, and the other is more secretive. He's kind of closeted. I don't know if I really like that word, but he's in denial, and he is a Navy SEAL. And it was a nice story. I gave it 3 stars. It was a little frustrating. It was mainly Zach is his name, the SEAL. I don't know. He was a little kind of like self-hating almost, and like I get it to some extent, but it went a little long for me, and the resolution was a little too fast. There is like a continuation little free novella called Homecoming, which I did read, and I gave 3 stars as well. It was a cute little addition. It was nice to see these 2 characters. It was cute, whatever. And then I actually read Wheels Up by Annabeth Albert, and this was from Overdrive as well. And this one is the 4th book, I think. Yeah, this is the 4th book in the Out of Uniform series, and I gave it 3 stars. I held up 2 hands, but 2 fingers with 3 stars. And this one, male romance, obviously. I think that's all Annabeth Albert writes, which makes me a little sad because I would totally love to have a book about Sam, one of the character sisters in here. I'd love to have a book about her because she just seems so interesting. They're both Navy SEALs. One is like kind of out, and the other is more bisexual and is not out about that. And they end up meeting on a hookup app, and then they meet in person, and then they end up on the same team, and one of them is like the commanding officer, I think it's the right word, and then the other is an enlisted man, which honestly I didn't know all about, so it was a little confusing. And apparently you can't eat, there's like a no fraternization rule, which includes like friendship. So that's like the big drama and tension source in this story. This also resolved a little too quickly and easily for me. I did like this a little bit more than Off Base, mostly because I just liked the characters a little bit better. I found them easier to connect with and easier to like, you know, and I liked their romance and their relationship with each other. Like they talked and they became friends, and I really appreciated that. So oh, and then real quick, I have been reading The Studley Hour by Serena Bowen, and I wanted to mention this really quick in case you are a Serena Bowen fan and you did not know about this. My foot is falling asleep and it is killing me. So she is releasing every week on Tuesdays, I think. Someday in the week. I get the email. Through her newsletter, she is doing a serial, which I have never read because I'm just not a patient person. So it just intimidates me. I don't want to wait. But I love Serena Bowen. So this is about Pepe, who you meet in the Years books. He's one of the hockey players. And it's like, oh, I'm so excited for Pepe to get a book. And it is free. It's a serial, so 1 chapter comes out every week. 2 chapters have released as of filming this. The 3rd chapter should be out by the time you are seeing this. If you want to sign up, I will try and leave a link to Serena Bowen's newsletter down in the description. But oh my gosh, I'm loving it. It's so cute and fun, and it's great to be back at Harkness. I'm loving it, and I suggest you read it as well. And that is it. That is all I read this month. Hello, Murphy Cat. So let me know what you read this month, and I will see you later. Bye. Oh, you want to be in a video? We're working on being picked up. No likes to pick up still. Okay. We're working on it though. We're working on it. You're so very brave, Murphy Cat, letting mommy pick you up. Oh, hi Murphy. You want to be in the thumbnail? Oh, you want to be in the thumbnail?